You can live another 10 years like this, with the same thoughts, same level, with the same fatigue, and then wake up one day and ask yourself again, why doesn't anything change? And you can watch this video to the end. Because at the very end, there's a practice, not from a book, not from a motivational seminar. It's from life, from pain, from insight. It turns on the brain, it turns on the body, and it sets things in motion. But it only works if you watch it all the way through. No rewinding, no for later. Because every word in that video is a nail in the coffin of the version of you who's been putting it off, always second-guessing, thinks that later is also a choice. Are you stuck? That's good, then you're ready to break free. Because the truth is, people don't fall for lack of talent. They drown in cozy, soft excuses. They live like there's going to be another take. But it's all from one take. And now is the turning point. In this video, 5 laws that made a millionaire out of an ordinary salesman. I'm talking about Jim Rohn, a man who wasn't born rich. He was on the downside. He was selling a TV remote control to buy bread. But at one point, he said to himself, never again. Not because someone came and saved him, but because he made a decision. And he started to live not as a poor man, but as a rich man. What you're about to hear is not just advice. It's a system that changes everything. How you spend your money, how you think, how you choose your environment, how you make decisions, especially in a moment of weakness. And most importantly, it works. At any age, in any country, from scratch, no investment, no connections, no second chances at life. It's not magic, it's math, and it works on the side of those who take action. So right now, you need to do one simple thing. Stay until the end. Because the practice that you get at the finals could be the defining moment that starts it all. The first law sounds simple, but it's everything. It's the essence of wealth. It's the whole point of freedom, and the whole reason why most people stay in poverty, even with a 6-figure salary. Don't spend everything you earn. That's it. Dry, boring advice at first glance. But it's the one that changed everything for Jim Rohn as he sat in a cheap motel, surrounded by bills and debt, with an empty refrigerator and a credit card that gave the illusion of power. He did a simple audit of his life and realized he wasn't living on income. He was living on wants. And desires are bottomless. They're like a black hole that eats up everything you earn. And even more, he made $1,000, he spent $1,100. He made $2,000, he spent $2,200. I felt like a king, he said, but really I was a slave to my craving for now, for want, for can't help myself. His mentor said one phrase to him that burned into his consciousness. If you make $1,000 and spend $1,001, will eventually eat up all your freedom. Herein lies the central lie of poverty. I'll start saving money when I make more. But that never comes. Because poverty is not an amount, it's a way of life. It's a habit of living on the edge. The truth is, it doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you leave behind. The system only starts working when you stop chasing external brilliance and choose inner strength. Living below your means is not a sign of poverty. It's a sign of maturity, wisdom, respect for your future self. It doesn't sound trendy, it's not glossy. But you know what is fashionable? Sleeping peacefully. No debt, no anxiety. Without the feeling of interest rates breathing down your neck. You don't lose if you don't have an expensive car. You've lost if you don't have a reserve. You're not at a disadvantage if you don't wear designer clothes. You're at a disadvantage if you can't quit a job that's killing you. And you know where the path to $1 million starts? Not with an investment, not with a new project. It starts with one simple phrase. I'm not spending everything I have anymore. How many times have you heard, when I start earning more, then I'll start saving? Let me be blunt. It's a lie, a dangerous and beautiful one. Because when you get more, you're just scaling up habits. You don't buy one $5 coffee, you buy 3. Not a $700 iPhone, but a $1,500 iPhone. And you know what doesn't change? Zero in savings. That's why Jim Rohn's second law sounds tough but fair. Always pay yourself first. Not the government, not the credit card companies, not the brands that scream at you from your screens, but yourself. Make that percentage a law. 10% of any income is your freedom tax, even if it's 10 out of 100. It doesn't matter how little. It matters how regularly. Jim Rohn said, "It's not about the amount. It's about self-esteem." Every time you put money in the reserve, you're saying to yourself, "I'm worthy of freedom. I respect my tomorrow more than my momentary weakness today. I choose strength over momentum." It's not about economy. It's about identity. It's about a mindset where you're not a consumer, but a builder. Do you ever feel proud to say no to a purchase because you chose your future self? That's the maturity right there. When you no longer seek pleasure in things, but find strength in control. Jim compared it to a foundation. You can't build a house of freedom on the sand of impulsive spending. And here's the paradox. People who say they don't have $10 to save often have $50 for pizza, $70 for subscriptions they don't use, and $300 to impress people who don't respect them. Pay yourself first and you'll be one of the people who are creating wealth instead of hoping for a miracle. It's an act of strength. And power is the new currency. And it always earns interest. When Jim Rohn first heard the phrase, he chuckled. "What do you mean money works? They're not people." But then he realized every dollar is an employee. If it's idle, you're a bad boss. At that moment, he asked himself the question, does my money work for me, or am I working for them? Here's the truth. If you don't give your money a job, it goes where it's given. It merges into Amazon and Starbucks and subscriptions that you don't even remember signing up for. Every uninvested dollar is an employee you put away to do nothing. Now look at it from a different angle. When you invest in education, it's an investment. When you buy a book, a course, a counseling session, you're upgrading your financial army. Because your first asset isn't stocks, it's your head. If you don't know what to do with your money, it's going to go where someone else knows what to do with it. That's why Jim started small. He bought a book on investing, attended a lecture, started saving for education instead of fun. And you know what happened? As my mind expanded, opportunities started finding me on their own. While others were collecting furniture, he was collecting knowledge. You don't get rich playing the lottery. You become rich if every dollar has a purpose. And that purpose is multiplication, not dissolution. Think about it. If every dollar that passed through your hands left you with a dime of profit, where would you be now? The world doesn't teach you that. School doesn't teach it. Advertising teaches you to spend. Trends teach you to spend. Society teaches you to live from paycheck to paycheck. But the rich teach one thing. Make money work while you sleep. Let every dollar bring in another dollar, not right away, not quickly, but steadily. Want a taste of freedom? Start investing. Not in crypto, not in hype, in yourself, in skills, in understanding. It's the safest asset in the world. It's not subject to inflation, and it doesn't crash on the stock market. And remember, money is not the goal. Money is a tool. But if you don't know how to use it, it will rust in your pocket until you decide to use it. When you have to, you're not free. Even if you live in a dream house, even if you have a brand new SUV on credit. Because if you work every month just to give your money to someone else, that's not freedom. That's renting your life. Jim Rohn said, "Debt is not evil, but it is a burden, and you can't get very far with a burden." Here's the point. There are two types of debt, those that work for you and those that work against you. Bad debt is when you take money for comfort, a new TV, a vacation you can't afford, fancy things to impress people who don't need you. Good debt is when you take a resource for growth, a training that increases your income, a tool that generates income, an investment in an asset, not an emotion. But there's a trap here. People are good at fooling themselves. I took out a laptop loan because I'm a freelancer. I need new AirPods. It's for work. No, you just want it, and you found an excuse. Jim used to say, don't wear what you can't lift. You feel successful as long as your credit card is open. But one missed payment, and you're a slave. Not to the system, to your own decisions. His real transformation began when he started paying off his debts one by one. And each closed debt was like dropping a backpack. More air, more energy, more power over his life. Real success isn't in new things. It's in the quiet confidence of saying, my money is mine. I owe no one. In America, this is especially important. Credit is a trap with glossy packaging. It's pushed on you everywhere, in stores, banks, ads, even in college where 18-year-olds collect tens of thousands in debt before they understand what it means. And as long as you think it's normal, You're in a system where debt is the culture. But you can get out, slowly, strategically. First, stop adding new debt, then start clearing the old. And one day you'll realize, I'm not walking with weight on my back. I'm walking with wings on my shoulders. Money doesn't stand still, and neither does the world. What worked in 1990 might ruin you in 2025. Jim said, financial literacy is not a trend, it's a weapon. Because ignorance is expensive. He once sat with a notebook for hours just to figure out tax nuances. Not because he loved numbers, but because he loved freedom. You can't protect what you don't understand. You can't manage what you fear. And you can't build wealth with a high school understanding of money. Financial knowledge is like fitness. You can't get in shape once and expect it to last forever. You must grow as the world changes. And your money grows only as fast as you do. One of Jim's students, a driver, listened to financial podcasts in the car daily. After 2 years, he had savings, investments, and a second income. Not because he got lucky, but because he chose to grow. You don't need a genius IQ. You need a daily decision. Just 10 minutes a day. Just one better question. Just one new habit. But most people don't start. Why? You spend hours on social media, but just 10 minutes a day for a year, that's 60 hours a year. 60 hours that can change everything. Financial illiteracy is not shameful. What's shameful is doing nothing to change it. While others rely on luck, you build a strategy. While others dream of a winning lottery ticket, you create a system step by step. Here's what few dare to say out loud. Financial freedom doesn't start with a bank. It starts with your mind. You can have $100,000 in your account and still live in fear. Or you can have $100 and feel powerful. Because freedom isn't just about money, it's about choice. Freedom is saying no to a job that drains you, saying yes to the trip you've dreamed about since you were 20, waking up in the morning and knowing, I'm in control. Silence in your mind instead of anxiety about tomorrow. Jim Rohn once said, your finances are a mirror of your beliefs. If you believe wealth is evil, that money is only for the young, that it's too late for me to start, you're cutting off your own oxygen. Financial thinking isn't about IQ, it's about perspective. One man built more in 5 years at age 55 than he did in his entire life before. Not because he suddenly got rich, but because he started thinking like a farmer. He planted, he nurtured, he waited, and he harvested. Most people wait for rain, without seeds, without soil, without a system, and then say, I wasn't lucky. You're not poor because your salary is low. You're poor if your philosophy is small. Want to know why you're not growing? Look at your environment. If everyone around you lives paycheck to paycheck, laughs at investing, says saving is boring, you'll become just like them without realizing it. Because thoughts are contagious, especially financial ones. It's like swimming in salt water and thinking it's fresh. You adapt to poverty without even knowing it. So surround yourself with growth. Watch videos, listen to podcasts, read those who live differently. Not for motivation, but for recalibration, because reality is a reflection of your beliefs. The most dangerous virus in the world isn't a bacteria. It's the inner belief that nothing will work because of excuses. And excuses don't shout, they whisper. It's too late for me. I don't have time. I don't get finance. Jim called this intelligent sabotage. It's disguised as logic, but it's fear, and fear steals your life. At one seminar, a 62-year-old man approached Jim. $900 pension, zero savings, debt, and shame in his eyes. Is it too late for me? He asked. Jim replied, it's only too late when you're gone. As long as you're breathing, you can begin. They made a plan. 3 years later, that man had an emergency fund, online income, and a new look in his eyes. The look of someone who got their power back. You don't need millions, but you do need honesty. Financial freedom is not a leap, it's a ladder. And every day you're either climbing or standing still, telling yourself maybe later. The only thing worse than failing is never starting. So forget the question, is it too late? Ask yourself, do I want 10 more years like this? If the answer is no, then here's your practice. Rate yourself from 1 to 10 on these 5 questions. How consciously do I spend? Do I save regularly? Do my finances build something for the future? How independent do I feel financially? How confident am I about tomorrow? Find the lowest score. That's your focus for the next 7 days. One area, one action, every day. If it's spending, track every dollar. If it's saving, open a new account and start with $1 daily. If it's knowledge, read 10 minutes on money each day. If it's confidence, write a plan, even on a napkin. If it's emotional control, wait 48 hours before any purchase. It's not the size, it's the consistency. The new you is built step by step. And after 7 days, you'll say, I've already changed. Freedom doesn't come suddenly. It comes through daily decisions. One yes to discipline, one no to distraction. You made it here. That means something. It means you're ready. Now, comment. Share your weakest score. Share your practice. Say it publicly. Not for likes, but as a promise to yourself. Your words may become someone else's turning point. And remember, it doesn't matter where you've been. It matters where you're going. If not you, who? If not now, when? You've already figured it out. You've heard, you've felt, you've compared. And you probably have two voices inside you right now. One of them is saying, that's all great, but life isn't that easy. And the other, quiet but yours, whispering, what if we try? That second voice is the real you. Not you in fear, not you in debt, not you in doubt. It's you in resource, dignity, in choice. People think that change requires the perfect moment, but the truth is different. The pivot point is not in the timing, it's in the decision. You don't change because it's Monday. You change when you're tired enough of the same old thing, when you don't want to live in anxiety anymore, when you want to breathe, not survive. There was no magic in this video, just honest, fundamental principles. Live below your means. Pay yourself first. Put your money to work. Walk away from bad debt. Learn constantly. Build your financial philosophy. Don't hide behind excuses. Make it a practice, even if it seems like a small thing. These laws don't make noise. They don't sound like headlines on magazine covers, but they are the ones that change destinies. You don't have to be a genius to be free. You have to be honest with yourself and persistent. Your capital isn't just money. It's focus. It's discipline. It's maturity. It's choosing not what's easy, but what gets results. If you've seen it through to the end, then you're ready. Ready for the first step. Not a giant one, a real one. Write in the comments, what's the biggest law for you right now? Where are you going to start? What was the strongest moment in this video? Your comment isn't just feedback, it's your public contract with yourself. It's also an inspiration to someone who's on the edge right now. Someone who reads your words and says, I'm going to start too, right now. And if you want more, subscribe. Because we're not just talking about wealth here, we're building it. Step by step, without pathos, no templates, real, and remember, you are not the sum of your mistakes. You are the sum of the decisions you start making today.